I came here to save you.
The fortress is taken.
It is over.
Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
You're my only hope.
We shall fight on the beaches.
There will be days when we lose faith.
We band of brothers.
But take heart. Look around. You're not in this fight alone.
I bid you stand! Men of the West!
Hi, everybody, and welcome to KingsAdvisors. My name is Dan. I'm joined by my co-host, Caleb.
What's up?
And today we are going to discuss National Treasure, Edge of History, television show on Disney Plus, episode 7. Caleb has it very cleverly titled "It Got Worse," but it did.
The name of the episode is "Point of No Return," which, if you're watching this, is where you are.
You will never be able to go back to a time when you have not been in a world where National Treasure, Edge of History exists.
Yeah. So we're gonna try something a little different today. Instead of doing a scene by scene analysis, we're just gonna kind of do a overview and give our thoughts. Still could wind up being a little long, but there's enough to rant about that hopefully it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, I've got some scenes I could talk about, but I guess in a general sense of we're 7 episodes into the show, and I'm still coming up with the same feeling I had when I first started watching it. I thought this should be serialized to the point where, 2 episodes are about one mystery, and then the gang moves on to the next. That's a TV show. Mm-hmm. This is just a really long, drawn out video game fetch quest movie.
Yes. Yes.
Every episode is like, here's the next mission from an NPC. Okay, here's the next mission from an NPC. Oh, the bad guy's right behind you, but you're still in that like video game, how when you're in a video game, there's like time, like it's like, oh, I need to get out of here. But you know that you can walk around and go trade your stuff at a trader and
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like in that pseudo state of like time is urgent, but not really.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So it's that where they want to make you feel like things are urgent. You need to get to the next thing, but it's so diluted by the time we get to episode 7. It's like when they're sitting around solving clues, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, there's
this 6 times already.
Yeah, and there's very little to actually care about in this show. The thing that was so great about the movies, and it honestly kind of sucks to keep going back to the movies because even though this is based on that,
compared to the movie,
yeah, it should. Anytime you make something new, it should be able to stand on its own, and this just doesn't. You've got every single episode we've had. There's been that moment where you're like, okay, where's the National Treasure Easter egg coming? And boy, do we have a doozy in this one.
No,
but we'll get to that later. So I did take a couple of notes. The one thing I do want to say is before my notes actually kick off, here at the beginning. So we're sitting here. If you remember where we left off in the last episode, you've got the gang, you've got the Mystery Incorporated sitting there in Texas trying to figure out what they're going to do. Are they going to go to Mexico? Are they not? Should she? And what's so crazy is that they spend the first 3 or 4 episodes of this show talking about, if she gets if Jess gets a traffic ticket, she's going to get deported. And all of a sudden we're all down for basically committing felonies. That's like the most ludicrous part about this show. But we go the first moment of this show actually takes place 4.5 minutes in, which is kind of surprising, or maybe 4:45 in, which is a little surprising because with like all the other episodes, almost the first line has just been like, what the hell is this? But we're sitting here in the Texas courthouse waiting on everyone to be processed.
Such riveting television.
Yeah.
I know.
And what's great is, Danny, you're a lawyer. How many times you go into a courthouse and seen all the people that are being processed, just sitting in a lobby, a nice looking lobby.
I mean,
no
listen,
one is in handcuffs.
I'm a simple Southern attorney. I might not be used to these big, highfalutin reenactment courthouses where, people are getting dragged through in handcuffs and other people are just sitting in the lobby without being handcuffed to anything. They're all violent crimes we just dealt with, right? I guess maybe Catherine Zeta-Jones wasn't violent, I guess, but she was still.
Well, that's the thing. She is not in handcuffs. She was arrested for assaulting a park ranger. That's a federal employee.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yes, wait a minute. She
should be in the back of the courthouse, underground, in a jail cell. Yeah, she should be in a jail cell, not sitting on a bench. What actually kind of looks like a comfy bench. Most courthouse benches don't look very good, but that one's not bad. Talking to the female expert on the Alamo.
Oh, hold on. I've got to just.
Is it which one is it? Is it the first thing she says or the next thing she says?
Is it even matter what she says? I mean, it's the whole. It's
what's
the whole
great? What's great is the first thing this woman says. There's a Davy Crockett guy being ushered through the hallway. He's like, "Oh, you wouldn't arrest Davy Crockett, would you?" And this woman goes, "David, he didn't call himself Davy." Like, who gives a shit?
Dude, I just tried to take a screenshot of the lady's face, and it won't even let me show that. Like, I just
here.
No, you can't even take a screenshot. Well, I want to show the audience what we're dealing with here because it's like, if you could draw a cartoon of a Karen academic, would it look anything different than this?
Hang on, I can do it.
Here, I got the timestamp. It's
like 4:48.
Everyone at 5:18.
5:18.
Yeah, that's her. That's the Karen.
Okay, here's 5:16. Okay, here we go. I think I have to. Yeah, there she is. There's our glorious academic.
Oh my gosh!
She's just guilty of preaching the truth. But the great.
Oh my god, that is the best screenshot I could ever see.
Yeah.
I'm just guilty of preaching the truth. The 2016 election was stolen.
Yeah, the better one is. Let me take this off so we don't get dinged.
Dude, thank you for showing that for the audience.
So
the
better one is
smug.
Yeah, she goes she has one line where she's like good luck. What?
It's just funny. Like I'm looking at her. I'm like, not to make fun of her, but it's like almost insulting how they portrayed this lady.
So Catherine Zeta-Jones says only those who truly appreciate history care about its details, big or small, and which is crazy because it's kind of like a bastardized version of Edmund Burke's "Those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it." And
it's also smug of like that person might be a reenactor, but he doesn't even care about history.
Then you've got this female academic who is there solely because she's female. You just know it. And
also, why would anybody arrest her?
Right. Yeah. We haven't. There's nothing in this to tell us why is she there.
Were you trespassing?
And then trespassing in a public place. I'd love to see that.
Well, I mean, I could this is where we have to get a little minutiae because this is what we do. But there's time, manner, and place restrictions.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so the Alamo could be like, hey, listen, like you're welcome to go down to City Hall and protest why we named our city this or named the fort this. But like, this is private property, or if it's public property, there's still restrictions that can be imposed because they wouldn't want anybody just going up there and saying it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
sorry, I just got triggered from law school for a second.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. This all should be triggering. But like, essentially, unless she was like, yeah, I was trespassing, I wouldn't give it up. And like, all right, well, that's at least. But she's just like, I was arrested for telling the truth. It's like, well, that's America. That's America.
Yeah. I'm just guilty of preaching the truth. And this is the thing. Yeah, this is what she says. Nobody wants to hear the real history of the Alamo.
The real history.
Okay. people will debate and argue the real history of certain events. Some of which I won't say here because we don't need strikes. But
it's obviously just on its face untrue because the other girl knew it. Jessica knew
yeah,
knew it. So
but
it's like, okay, well, it's not like secret knowledge.
Exactly. And then, and if all the real history of the Alamo is just, hey, it's named after the hometown of some Texas soldiers. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even. I'm American, and I just don't.
Bravo.
That's
makes Who gives sense, a shit?
Cool. Yeah.
I kind of forgot what I was going to say there, but yeah, who cares?
Well, that's fine. Yeah. Well, it's just like this. Not like. First of all, it's like the entire way they set this up is so bad. Like Billy is always like conveniently caught up so the episode can stay interesting.
Yeah.
Like Jessica takes like all this. Like, hold on, let me finish real quick. Jessica takes all this stuff and puts the puzzles together and needs her magic power to remember things and gets in all these dangerous situations. And Billy just like ran into a lady who was like, by the way, there was a different Alamo, and that's the real Alamo. And Billy's like, oh, that's great. Good thing I'm not wanted for attempted murder because I didn't know that officer didn't have a pacemaker. I mean, it's like you were right. I forgot that they had tased that. And the iPad lady is walking away from the courthouse so bold, even though she should have been arrested. I
got something to say about iPad lady.
Okay, well, we can move on to the next.
One of the things I love the most about this is, I said we weren't going to do scene by scene. We're not. But it just so happens the next thing is in the next scene. We've got the male nurse who is sitting there. He's on the phone with iPad lady, and it's just like, yes, I gave the FBI the thing. And and she says, okay, we're sending you your money now. Sending him $150,000, and he clicks decline.
In Bitcoin.
Yeah, and he clicks decline, and it's like, dumbass. There's no way. No one. I don't care how much your conscience changes. There are, short of God himself coming down and grabbing your finger away from your phone, there's no way anyone's not clicking accept on that.
I mean, let's just talk about like the real world and that payments are just sent. You can't decline them.
Yeah. Now
you can send it back. You can be like, all right, well, here's your $150,000 back. Block. You won't have any more contact with them. But like, it's not just like, do you want money? Like, it's just in the account. Like, it's just deposited.
Yeah. The one highlight of this episode that I actually liked for a moment, and then they actually kind of ruin it later.
What?
Is Oren actually Oren's a genius. Like
Oren
this
is
guy,
my favorite character.
Yeah, this guy is the best part of this entire show. I mean, we're sitting there and we're led to believe in this first instance that he's trying to find what shoes he's going to need to take to Mexico. And of course, my first thought is, what kind of idiot decides he's just going to start picking up different shoes? And then it turns out they're in case of boxes. And one of them is in case Jess ever needed to take the suitcase. And I assume the suitcase is her running away suitcase. I
wish there was more there should have been younger versions of these kids. Like these people, we should have seen like at least one part of episode 1 should have been like their friendship. You know what I mean? Because it just feels like all of these people are actors and they were put together.
You mean instead of like,
you guys were lifelong friends?
Yeah, you mean instead of like 3.5 minutes in a escape room that no one's ever solved before?
Yeah, I mean that was just the Hollywood being like,
I can't believe
how
I remember
they're
that.
Friends together. Like, oh, we're so far away from that, aren't we? Those were simple days.
Oh yeah. So then we have this really weird moment between Jess and like everyone else, where it's kind of like, look, do you want them to come? Do you not want them to come? Are you in love with Ethan? Are you not in love with Ethan? What's going on, girl? I mean, come on. Like, figure like I get your life kind of sucks, but figure it out.
Caleb, what
Like,
don't you get that she gets to choose whatever she wants at any time she wants? Like, that's what the writers have to keep her options open for her. Like, they're like, does she like Ethan? Does she like Liam? What's she gonna do? Either way, she's right and strong to do it and to mess with both of these guys.
will they? Won't they? On the
Like, I hate
next
to say it, like,
episode of
they-
Natural Treasure.
They're terrible friends because they realized that Liam wasn't the bad guy and they just left him in the hospital.
Exactly.
He has no clue what's going on. Like, Ethan is even there and isn't like, hey, by the way, here's a secret cell phone number for us. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
like, what is that? Wait a minute. Like, what is that? Like, that's a big part of this episode where they're like, all right, well, Liam's not the bad guy.
Actually, you know, I'll tell you, the most realistic part of this episode is about 5 minutes from where we are, where the FBI lady's sifting through all the evidence. Oh, right. Forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode, they decide that the recording of Jess is real, saying that she's going to kill Peter Sadusky, and the FBI puts out a warrant for her arrest, which is why it's so ridiculous what Ethan does. We've decided Ethan is a lawyer. There have been various context clues that near the beginning of the show, they asked him the punishment for a certain crime. Then Tasha in this episode says, can't Ethan just do some lawyerly stuff? He mentions lawyering up. There's too much context for me, at least, to say he's not a lawyer. So we're going to say he's a lawyer. And first off, I've never seen a lawyer with such an open schedule.
Wait, what stage of being a lawyer is he? Is he in law school? I guess this is where we can get a little nitpicky, but I hate to do so for like the reputation of the audience. But like, this man is not sweating nearly enough. Exactly.
He has way too much free time.
Yeah, and he is way too calm about all the rules that he's breaking.
So I had a lot of free time in law school, but that's also because I didn't put in nearly as much effort as I should have. This guy was talking about how he got a 35 on the ACT. I promise you, this guy puts in effort, which means
also shows you that this show is designed to be like for high school students because nobody in the adult world cares about ACT scores.
Yeah.
I forgot what that was until he said it, and it was like, she got a perfect ACT score. I'd be like, dude, I don't care.
36. And yeah, so they issue their arrest warrant, they get a search warrant, and they take all of her stuff, which is where they find where the suitcase thing becomes a big deal. And so they're back at the FBI, and an FBI lady is sifting through everything wearing gloves. And I'm like, that's the most realistic thing I've seen in this show. It's been 7 hours, and that's the most realistic thing, that a cop would wear gloves when sifting through evidence. I'm honestly surprised they have that.
That was a leftover set from some CSI episode, that FBI. Are you talking about the FBI scene?
Yeah, where she's like sifting through everything.
Yeah.
She reads the Salazar note.
But I also don't know if you noticed, like, there wasn't any of that stuff. There wasn't any of that stuff missing from the room. Like, when Liam gets back there later, it's like a ton of stuff still there.
No. All that stuff is from Jess's apartment.
Oh, okay. Maybe I looked away for a second. I thought that they were raiding the house.
Yeah. And then we get this truly, I would have expected this to come from Jess, but not Liam, who's this? Ethan is there at the FBI to try to convince them that Jess is not guilty of this, and he listens to this audio tape of her confessing. And
first of all, now that we've established that he's a lawyer and can then just be judged on the merits of that, terrible.
Really bad.
What is he doing then? Does he represent her? Does he have jurisdiction? Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you can't just play around and go talk to FBI investigators because you're an attorney. Like,
yeah. You need
There's
to
a
tell them
lot
who
to
your
consider
client
here.
is.
Yeah, there's a lot to be considered here.
And I wouldn't expect a show, especially a Disney Plus show, to get like everything right. But having a
Which is
little
why
bit
I
of
didn't
realism.
well, that's also why I didn't really see them taking the whole FBI arc so far. As to like, well, now we need to lawyer up. I was like, oh, come on. Do we really need to get in? Now this is a law and crime show.
Exactly. Yeah. That's because that's what sells.
I guess just fast-moving suits, talking fast and moving fast.
Yeah, but then the whole basis of her innocence is about to be based off of whether or not she used farther or further correctly.
Or further, yeah.
Like, I mean,
also, has the FBI never heard of a deep fake? Like this is
exactly. Yeah, it's 2022. It's 2023, guys.
They invented deep fakes. Like, come on,
there's an episode of Blue Bloods from 4 years ago about this crap. And you're telling me we're in a show that's 4 years older from that, and
that's how dejected these writers are from reality.
Well, these writers have spent too much time reading Nicholas Sparks novels.
I guess so. Yeah, that seems to be exactly the right thing to say there.
So the next thing to talk about is the fact that the wardrobe is really bad. They really need to give iPad Lady a bra. This is the Disney Plus show. This is the Disney show. We don't need to be seeing everything you got under a shirt.
I can't stand scenes like this because, like, you're pointing, like, not that I cared or noticed it, but when you brought it up, it was like, yeah, okay, that's obnoxious. But it brings my attention to this scene again where it's like, why is she just in Texas walking her to her car? She should be like, well, no, now you're in my custody because you're a suspect in a murder.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're still wanted in this jurisdiction for tasing a man. You're not going anywhere.
Well, they don't actually know who iPad Lady is.
Right, but if they had security footage of, if the guy could identify her, if he could identify Billy, he could identify the iPad Lady, and then he could even further.
The iPad Lady is the one that actually tased him.
That's what I mean. Like, she's the one who actually tased him. Like, she should be the one that's like, hey, I'm actually in jail, Billy. Can you get me out? And Billy be like,
yeah.
Like, why would I waste time on you? Like, you're in jail. That's fine. I'll figure it out later.
So now we're finally in Mexico. They cross the border. There's this really stupid moment between the border guard and Jess where he says, I want to get it right. He says welcome home in Spanish. I can't exactly remember how to say welcome, but he says that, and then they all look at Jess like, what did he say? Almost as if, what, y'all grew up in Louisiana and never heard someone say welcome home in Spanish?
It's like, aren't you her friend? Wouldn't you guys want to say that to her one day?
There isn't, like, I get if you can't actually converse in Spanish, but like, come on, you don't know La Biblioteca? I mean, what is this? No one ever watched Community?
I mean,
come on.
It's like, are you Mexican? Are you American?
Like, that's the thing. She's apparently
citizenship.
She's apparently too Mexican for America, but too American for Mexico.
That's true. Yeah, she knew. That lady knew.
Yeah. So we get, after they cross into Mexico, we finally see Liam again, and he's all beaten up. He's got this terrible scar on his forehead where I'm pretty sure there should be stitches on his head.
And this is the same Liam who used to be in this show. Like, used to be
exactly, yeah,
in the show. Okay.
He was, this guy actually used to be almost a main character.
Character.
And now
he's realizing why they put him on the side.
Yeah, he's had like 8 minutes of showtime in the last 2.5 episodes.
He literally went from the most important character who was going to steal the journal to, okay, well, we got to get this guy out of the show.
It's because he's white.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
That's why I whispered it.
You heard it here.
Yeah, so we're back at the bar with Liam, and Liam is going to have to make a decision. he's going to have to choose between his dream and his girl.
Because you can't have both.
Yeah.
You can't, you know that, Caleb. You can't be like, hey, I'm actually not going to play a song right now, but it's cool that all these people are here. Tell them I'll be back this day.
Because you can't always get what you want. And everyone just turned off the episode.
Now you're going to get a copyright strike.
Yep. So you find out that everyone that's at the bar is there to watch Liam, and Liam starts strumming his guitar and he stops. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to do a whole, I can't do this. I have to go save my girl. But instead he just sings a song about Jess that he wrote.
What time was it? Who is there waiting for a guy that may or may not show up? What is this show?
Yeah. I mean,
these people are here for you, son. It's a Tuesday at 3. What?
Yeah.
Why are
He's
they
not wrong.
Stop drinking and go get your fucking kids from school? What is going on?
What's so great about this is, we don't know what time it is. We don't know what day it is.
Well, it's Saturday night.
It's got to be a Saturday or a Sunday because no one's working.
No one's working. Not even just there for like lunch, and it's like the lunch crowd turns around. It's like, no, we're just drinking.
Yeah. Also, it's not like the video so everyone's there at this bar because of the video that went viral of him singing Suspicious Minds at Graceland. The problem is nowhere during that video does it say, hey, this is Liam Sandusky from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He performs on Tuesday nights at the La Rouge Bar, whatever you want, whatever. So it's like, okay. I mean, if you go viral in Memphis in Graceland, you'd assume that they're
go to Nashville.
That person's either in Nashville or he's in Memphis. Like, show me the logic that says this guy went viral in a video from Graceland, Tennessee, and everyone knows he's at a bar in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, show the FBI being like, this guy's going viral. This guy's going viral. We can't keep a lock on it.
I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Brother, you know that and I know that. But it doesn't seem like the showrunners know.
Yeah. So we get another, we get another little America Bad thing coming up when they're at this like market type thing in a street in Mexico, and they just start speaking in Spanish, which I don't speak Spanish. I can understand a couple words. I don't speak Spanish, but her Spanish sounds very good to me. And all of a sudden the Mexican lady's like, oh, I speak English if that's more comfortable for you. And it's
better
like
than most people in this country. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I am not one for profiling, but look at her, listen to her. She probably is speaking pretty damn good Spanish. Like what? Did she use the Nosotros form when she should have used the Vosotros form? I mean, come on. And actually, they don't use Vosotros in Mexico. So, boom.
This just seems like one of those things where they were like, it's like Mexico has its own like culture kind of thing, where it's like, we don't need your, like, we're so good that we have your language mastered too. And it's like, if it's more comfortable for you, and it's like, oh, this is.
Yeah. So they're buying clothes again, which is actually something that I'm glad to see because they weren't able to take anything with them. So it's something that makes a little sense here. But then they ask, hey, do you know a cheap hotel around? We're on a budget. And we get to the hotel. And this is a beautiful hotel. I don't know. I've been in cheap hotels before. And they don't roll their towels up on the counter. cheap motels don't have coffee pots.
I mean, they're bad. Like cheap motels are
cheap
bad.
motels don't have king beds.
And I can't imagine one in Mexico. Like this, I hate to say it. There's just like, I'm sure there are super nice cheap motels in Mexico, but like when you think of Mexican cheap motel, we're on the run. You would think seedy. You would think dangerous. You would think like,
of any hotel that you saw the Grand Tour guy staying in Botswana. That's what you would think of.
I have to watch that episode. I have to watch the Grand Tour.
Incredible.
Although I heard he just
I'm livid about that. I think they'll back off, but yeah.
I don't know. They've been waiting to take him down for a while now.
Yeah.
He's way
That's okay. He'll just go on over to Warner.
He'll have to leave Britain, unfortunately, to have the kind of speech he wants.
Yeah. That's what happens when you don't have your freedom of speech actually protected by law.
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't even have it at all.
So we're back at the FBI doing more conversations between a field agent and the boss, which they talk way too much. Like, I know at the beginning I was kind of like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense. He's just trying to make her feel better. But he's way too involved in this. Field agents are allowed to have cases. They don't have to be watched over by the boss every single step they make.
I mean, that would almost be their job, right? Is to have their own cases that they work and have the independence to work in, and that's their jurisdiction.
Like, it's just ridiculous. And then so
it's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. I hate to use it as it's boring. SVU, Blue Bloods, CSI drama, where it's like, hey, we're fast walking people. By the way, the guy's in the same suit the whole time.
Yep.
And that's how and it's like, all right, I get it. Like, these were all shot in day. You can tell because none of the scenes are longer than 10 minutes.
What gets me is it's actually the same tie. Like, if it's a different.
Oh, I meant the same outfit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if it's the same jacket and shirt, okay. Well, there's only so many jackets and shirts guys wear, but it's the same tie. Like, come on.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're in prison now. Jess has gone to the prison to talk to Sal.
Killed her father.
To talk to Salazar and figure out what he knows, because as Oren so wisely put it, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Thank you, Sun Tzu. You are not.
So they take some Sun Tzu and they leave the other Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so we get to prison, and Dan, we called it. We said it. I will go back through our videos, but I swear we said it.
Oh, we said that that Jess's father was still alive, and either he was Salazar or he was still out there.
We were wrong about that. Jess's dad is not Salazar.
Well, that was when we were guessing. Like, we were like, "Who is Salazar?" And we were like, "Could be Jess's dad." I'm still out there for Liam's dad. Like,
I'm on that. So here we are. Jess is trying to sneak into the prison as a journalist, and the guard goes, "Sorry, no journalists allowed." And she just goes, "I'm not a journalist. I'm here to confront the man that killed my father." And the guard's just like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Come on in."
You speak the Mexican, it's like that's part of their constitution. It's like, I'm here for revenge. And it's like, okay, you're in.
Yeah, I mean, who's running this? The cartel?
Obviously not. They wouldn't just let people in. They'd be like, you know what I mean?
Hey, give him a gun first.
That's true. Well, here's your pistol.
So here we are. I actually missed this one little part. We actually see Jess's dad in his very spacious cell. This is a very big cell.
For a guy who did what? Just like almost robbed a bank once? Like, the crime is not that of like they make it seem like he's Salazar. He's had people murdered and
so
he's a bad guy.
He's in there for bank robbery, I believe. And I'm trying to pause this at the perfect time so you can see this. Okay. Well, okay. This is his cell. That's a big cell, don't you think?
That's a lot of paper they gave him too.
Yeah, with the toilet right there up at the front. So the people in this cell could watch him.
Yeah. Also, it's so funny. Look at there's like stuff above the toilet. So like he's just like taking a leak, reading stuff still, or he's like, this is my most important section, and I have to stand over the toilet to read it.
Yeah, it just like I like having the stuff stuck on the wall. It kind of makes sense. He's been here for 20 years. He'd have stuff all over the walls. I just feel like that cell's too big. Like what this actually looks like is it looks like a mental hospital where they were actually filming like a Terminator rerun or something. And they were like, oh, we can
fit. Go ahead.
Well, we can just we've got this for like an extra day. Let's just put him in here and have this be his cell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that might have been a practical solution. It also looks like this is like maybe a prison cell that's supposed to have like, I don't know, 4 more bunk beds in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it actually looks bad. You're like, oh, that looks terrible. Like, regardless of the space, there's 7 other guys in there. You know what I mean? That would be terrible.
Yeah, okay.
You imagine having to share that space with like if there were 4 bunk beds in there, so 8 beds.
Oh, I don't think there'd be 4.
Well, like, okay, 3 or 2. Like, just that's what would make the room more believable as a prison.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. It's just, let me take this off so that we don't get hit. But I'm trying to see if he's the only one in here. It looks like it, but as he's walking down this hallway, there's multiple people in each cell. So maybe he's just by himself and stuff like that. But
I mean, they make him seem like such a bad guy. Like, oh, I've eaten people. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the okay, sorry, apologies. So Jess meets him and they have this moment where she realizes who he is and she flips out. Like, holy crap, it's so unrealistic. Imagine, because I've lost a parent. Imagine finding out that that you're not an orphan anymore, and all you can do is yell at the guy. Like, that's just not realistic.
Wrong. I don't even understand what he did wrong. He's like, yeah, I've been literally falsely identified in a Mexican prison. How was I? What would you have me do?
Yeah. What do you think I have a Bill of Rights here?
Also, it's like, would you want me to break out and bring the trouble to you and your mother? Is that what you wanted me to do? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, you've got it's a 5-minute conversation where halfway through she realizes that who he is. And instead of being happy, oh my God, I have my dad, I'm going to flip out.
Well, you know what this is, dude.
It's Nicholas Sparks.
Well, no, this is classic. I'm no longer the victim. Somebody else might actually have it harder than I do, which is my father, who's been falsely imprisoned in jail, in a Mexican jail.
For 20 years.
For 20 years. Like 20.
I mean, okay, they have different laws down there, but that feels like a long time for bank robbery.
Well, we have
especially when you did
20 years here.
Yeah, but especially when you don't take anything.
What I'm saying is like the fitting doesn't suggest it. It's like this looks like a place for like maximum career criminals, and that's fine. If the Mexican government genuinely believes this man to be Salazar, right? It's like, okay, well, he's like basically like a cartel leader, so we have to, you know, stop him. So we have to put him away from all the prisoners and stuff like that. But this is like, you know, according to what we know, just a lowly bank robber. Like, I would imagine there's a whole bank robbing wing or a whole prison.
Yeah.
So it's just stupid. It's just stupid. And again, it's her realizing that, oh my gosh, I might not have actually been the only victim of the story. Because if you think about it, she kind of throws it around other people's faces.
Well, it's like Katara and Zuko when they're fighting at each other, and he's just like, or she's like, you know, my mom died when I was young. It's like, okay, my dad hates me, my sister hates me, my mother disappeared, she might be dead, my dad burned my face, banished me. My uncle hates me because at the time he doesn't know that Iroh actually loves
I was dishonored, because he dishonored.
But it's like, lady, other people have issues too.
Right.
So that's kind of what happens here. And then you've got the fastest turnaround and forgiveness I've ever seen, where after like 2 minutes of being talked to by Ethan, she's just like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go find the treasure.
Yeah, she went from, I don't care, I'm going home, like, I never should have done this, to, I need to find this treasure again. It's like, okay, great. Glad we ended the episode where we started it. With you wanting to find the treasure. Like, great. Okay, so what's next? It's like, okay, Billy's right behind us. Okay, so we have made zero progress on this. And it's just really frustrating because you get to the point where you think to yourself, you're like, what is the point of this show? Like, are we going to get to the point where we're just we're watching like a soap opera and there just happens to be a treasure in the background that we're ultimately going to realize is better off lost? I mean, this is what we figured out.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
First movie is like, we know some treasures aren't meant to be disturbed.
It's exactly what's going to happen.
And it's so played out because we've already seen the movie. It's like, I know. Stop.
Well, and that's the thing. There's a moment at the end that we'll get to in just a second, where that's just like, it becomes plain that's what the show is going to end on.
Oh, that's like, it couldn't be more plain to see that that's where it's going. You're like, okay, I get it. The treasure's better off lost. The treasure's better off lost. Treasure's better off lost. The treasure was the friendships the whole time.
Yep.
Okay, great.
So after Liam finally decides to stop moping around and crying and try to find Jess, we have honestly an okay clue scene where they break down a clue that Jess's father gives her.
Oh, I hate the clue scenes.
So the only reason I think it's okay is because it's exactly how I would expect a clue to be broken down in 2023. You've got everyone sitting there at their computer figuring stuff out. It's definitely like a C version of the difference between Sean Bean's team breaking down clues and Ben Gates breaking down clues.
But that was 20 years ago when the internet was like unknown to people, where it was like
exactly. But I feel like it kind of makes sense.
Just like, oh, but this person died in this day. It's like, dude, I've been studying history for a long time. I couldn't just like tell you the day that somebody died. And maybe I'm not a historian. Maybe except for certain people, obviously, like March 15th is the odds March. It's just like I like the way he's like, yeah, but Queen Isabella died in this day, and this guy died in this day. It's like, well, can you at least have your laptop open and reading that?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Because otherwise, it's just the script is telling you that. I don't believe that these people know this stuff. Like Nick Cage did.
That is a big problem where you've got these actors who it really just appear like they're actors. They're not just reading actually a script. Reading. Yeah, they're reading a script. They're not actually doing any work.
Like, and it's like, oh, and then this guy was this, and it's like, oh, but why do we all know that? Are we all history majors?
Exactly.
Shouldn't you guys be worried about your taxes and like somebody getting in a car accident? Like you guys are like you're 20-somethings. Like, be worried about insurance bills and like what is this? Like, nobody cares about anything in the real world here.
Yeah. So then we get to here. We are at the end. We get to Oh, I did want to say something earlier. When she's sitting there crying the whole time and about the fact that her family lied to her for so long, it's just not believable. Like, she doesn't. It's the worst fake crying I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's got some real highlights as an actress. I think this is too much for her, like, in this role. Like, she doesn't carry the full weight that a main character carries, I don't think. I just don't, not for this long. That's why if she was like the leader of the Scooby-Doo gang and episode 1 and 2, one story. Great, guys, we're a team. this is who we are. You know, we solve crime, we solve treasure hunts for different people or stuff like that. And you could have some of them fun episodes, some of them serious. You know what I mean? Like, give them contacts in the FBI, make them, you know, do that be a whole arc or something. Like, what? Don't make it a 7-hour long story where by the 7th hour I'm like, I just don't care about the main character.
Yeah, and we've got there's probably about 3 or 4 more lines that just that you could tell they're only in there to like check a box. Like when Ethan says Isabella was around, like, oh sorry, not that. Says something about he uses CE instead of AD. And it's like, all right, first off, changing the whole thing is BS because you're still using the same dates. You haven't changed when the years change. So why do they change?
Yeah, I mean, I always have the same argument of, like, you know, the French tried this in a revolution. They made their own calendar up, and it was bad.
Yeah.
So, you know, trying to reset stuff like this is just it's honestly vanity. We're like, we're the generation that changed the way we date things. Like, yeah, well, the next generation is just going to go back to it.
Exactly. And then of course we get San Juanilla, whatever her name is, who was the first feminist in the New World in 1600.
Right.
And it's like,
I learned about her day one of law school. You know, she's the most important person after Jennifer Lawrence.
Exactly. I was going to say, no, Jennifer Lawrence is more important. But
you almost had me.
After J-Law, she's the most important person.
She actually, Jennifer Lawrence, the one who told her to become a feminist of the New World.
Exactly. Yes, that's what actually happened.
That's what.
And of
secret
course,
history nobody wants to know about.
Yeah, the real history of San Juanilla.
The truth. I'm going to get arrested for telling the truth.
Yeah, and of course, the church is the bad guy in this. Which, okay, the church might be the bad guy in quite a lot of stories, but this is just a stupid way to make the church look bad. Let's just talk about how they burned everything.
I love the nun is like subverting her like religion. Like she's just like, well, you know, and I love like, do you really think this is going to respond well with Mexican audiences who are like
exactly? Catholic? It's like what 98%
that their nuns are actually subverting their own culture for pagan beliefs.
And then we had we have that moment earlier where they're talking about how finding this treasure will bring back lost heritage, which is complete bullshit because you've got probably almost the entire population of Latin America can trace most of their heritage back to Spain and not any of those 3 tribes.
I mean, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Like, they're like, oh, the 3 cultures. I'm like, these 3 cultures would have fought to dominate each other.
Yeah. These aren't happy-go-lucky people. Why do we keep doing this?
That's like saying the Romans and the Greeks and the Ptolemaic Egyptians all came together and formed a secret pan-empirical group to hide all their treasures. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. One of the groups would have been like, great, put all your treasures here. Okay, I'm taking all these treasures.
Exactly. Because let me make sure I got the right one here. Nope, not that one. Because the rape of the Sabine women would have really united the peninsula.
Hey, rape in the word for rape that we get in Latin just means to take. So that's a subject of a lot of debate there, buddy. The rape of the Sabine.
So here we are now. We're here. Here we are at the end. Billy is going to talk to Salazar because she thinks Salazar is the one that's in prison. She gets there and finds out. Which she
didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
How did she not know that?
I don't know.
Like, I thought she was going to be the one who put him there.
Yeah. Oh, see, there's so many things that just
The
don't
board
make
hasn't come
sense.
back. The board is going to magically show up in like episode 8 or 9. Be like, oh, look, they set that up. That she has to answer to a board.
Yeah. Oh, that's the biggest piece of hooey I've ever seen. And so they've got the last little box thing, the mother box, which this is the oldest looking one. The other ones looked like they were made in a factory yesterday. This one at least looks a couple weeks old.
Also, I love how like that organ puzzle key like would have been worth more than anything they've been looking for.
Exactly.
Like that was so complex and organized that I was like, what did they have? Clockmakers working on this project? Like, who
Yeah.
did this?
Well, and what's crazy is the thing what they have that organ that was redone in the 70s. Okay. Well, it would have made more sense to have it redone around 2001, which would have been about 20 years ago, which would have been when all this stuff first started popping off.
Yeah, it would have made more sense.
Exactly. So the nurse is actually a good guy now, and Billy is getting ready to kill her father, and we finally get the little
Kill Jessica's father, not Billy's father.
yeah. Jessica is going, or Billy's going to kill Jessica's father.
Fuck if I know, but that could be Salazar too, is Billy's father.
Yeah, so we finally get the moment we just knew was going to come. No, I've got to do something. Hang on, is this it? Sorry, I know this is so entertaining.
No, it's giving me like cringe. I remember looking over when I was watching it, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, they're doing it. They're zoom in, turn around,
zoom in. There's only one way to stop her. You can't do it. I'm going to break him out of prison. What? I'm going to break my father out of prison. Gee, does that remind you of anything? Almost like I'm going to steal it. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. What?
One is infinitely cooler than the other.
Exactly. There's a reason one of them's a meme.
Why don't you just, I don't know, get your fucking lawyer to say, hey, why don't you guys do a DNA test and see that this isn't the guy you're looking for?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, because that would be logical.
Pin the blank robbery on him because he probably was trespassing, but if there was nothing taken, then it's not really a robbery.
Exactly.
Like you need these things. Like, and if it was attempted robbery, fine. That can't be the maximum sentence then.
It's just ridiculous.
It would have been really funny though if it was like, I'm gonna get him out of prison, and we think it's gonna be like that. How are these people gonna break him out of prison? And then it's like just like a court montage of like just like her fight, like just like a quick court montage, and he's like released.
Well, I'll tell you what's gonna if the next episode doesn't begin with like a four split screen of like all of their faces telling each other what they're going to be doing during the heist, I'm going to be very disappointed.
All right, so since there's a heist episode coming up, we're going to do a double cross and a backstab. So
with a backstab with a looky-loo.
Yes.
Thank you, Ocean's 11.
Dude. So bad, dude. I'm so mad at you for picking this show.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's not even like, it's like controversially boring. You're like, oh, this is so boring. Like, it's not even like Velma where it's like these juicy things. Like, what does the show even have on IMDb right now? Let me take a look.
Let's see.
It's Rotten Tomatoes is 37.
5.1 out of 10 on IMDb with 5.7 thousand reviews. The top rated episode was Charlotte, which is the one with Riley Poole. Bad Romance is the worst rated one.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the episode. So the whole thing has a 39 on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience, and then a 37 by the critics.
Wow.
I feel like it's right where we're at. Like we're honestly 3 to 10.
Yeah, this episode is a 3, maybe 2.5 for me.
Oh, yeah, I'd go lower than that. It was very bad.
Yeah, it's just not memorable. There's like, at least I remembered the Graceland thing, but that was more because it was Graceland.
Dude, did you see the description for this episode?
Mm-mm.
Jess, a brilliant and resourceful dreamer, searches for answers about her family. She embarks on an adventure of a lifetime to uncover the truth about the past and save a lost Pan-American treasure.
Is that the show's thing or this episode's thing?
It's this episode's thing on Rotten Tomatoes, but it looks like it's just like a
so
detail.
This is what IMDb says. Jess sacrifices everything to confront her dad's killer to find the last piece of the map. But that meeting rocks her world as she learns that nothing is what's expected on a treasure hunt, propelling her to make a dangerous decision that could land her in prison for life.
Oh my God.
I've never read a Nicholas Sparks novel, and I don't ever plan on reading one, but I feel like that's what the back of a Nicholas Sparks novel says. Minus the guy and the whole love part.
Wow, this is really funny. I clicked on the National Treasure Edge of History Season 1 news and interviews on Rotten Tomato, and there is literally nothing about the show.
Excellent.
There is no, like, Catherine Zeta-Jones on National Treasure. Oh, it's really great to be part of something that's bringing women to the forefront. Nothing.
There's no way there's a season 2 coming.
They'll announce it. It'll just never get made.
Well, no, what they'll probably do is they'll fold these characters into the third movie.
Oh, God. That's exactly what they're going to do. Why? Nobody cares.
My God. This is the next episode's thing. It's a matter of life and death when Jess and her friends embark on their most impossible caper yet. Meanwhile, Liam teams up with his grandpa's home care nurse, Miles, in a desperate attempt to bring down Billy and her secret organization before they harm Jess. Did you ever watch the 60s Batman show?
Yes, with my father, yes.
Yeah, this is giving me 60s Batman vibes.
The show? You're doing a disservice.
No, not the show. What are these called?
Description?
The episode descriptions. Yes. The show is excellent. 60s Batman is excellent. I'd love if I hadn't just been about to say it, I wouldn't have forgotten his name.
Adam West.
Thank you. I can't want to say Adam Scott. Yeah, no, I love Adam West. Brilliant Batman.
Yeah, R.I.P. Honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, we're gonna give it a 3, or I'm gonna give it probably like a 2.5. This one really lost me. I was really bored. I was really finding a reason to stay on it. I was just trying not to look up the description on IMDb to tell you I watched it. I finished it. It was bad. Don't watch the show. Instead, come back and check out KingsAdvisors next week to figure out how Jess is going to break in and out of a Mexican prison, because that's what we started watching the show for.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Any subversions you're looking forward to next week? I'm ready for, I'm here for the Mexican prison is actually the good guy kind of bit.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Here we go. He's not going to want to break out because the treasure is under the prison, and that's what he's been doing there. God,
no. I'll tell you what's really going to happen. Ethan's going to be a lawyer in Mexico.
It works just like that.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to have him be pro se for her, which is the incorrect words. And that's how it's all going to happen. She's going to get caught, and he's going to show up to rescue her. And then she's going to go, "Oh, Ethan, it was you the whole time."
But then Liam grabs a Mexican guitar and then lets everybody know that he's the guy in the room that can play the guitar.
That he has suspicious minds.
He has suspicious minds. Such beauty, Caleb. How will we ever top this piece of art? Find out next time on the King's Advisors. Thank you all, and you have a great week.